everybody's doing well. Today is rest day, and we are going to go over some of the stats and the numbers. Just kind of take a look at where we are at and where we're going and what we're trying to do, where we've been, all that kind of good stuff. So it's just a quick update on what everything looks like and kind of what our ideology is and how we're moving forward. So the first thing we want to take a look at is our body weight. When we step on the scale, how much mass do we weigh? How much is gravity pulling this body down towards the earth, right? So we can see that when we stepped on the scale in week 1, when we first started this journey, that we were 209.6 pounds at this point, which is great. We had went from 303 to 209.6 pounds. And as we moved forward through the holidays, we actually dropped all the way down to 202.7 pounds. Then, after dropping down to 202.7 pounds, we went on our vacation, which was a fishing trip. That was in January. On this vacation, we ate whatever we wanted. We had venison sausage, biscuits and gravy, barbecue, all kinds of stuff. You name it, we had it. Beer, whatever the hell we wanted. We just went wild, right? And ate and did whatever the hell we wanted for 3 days. And it was a wonderful time. And I don't regret any of it. But we did gain some weight doing that. Now, how much weight did we gain in fat? I don't know, right? But we definitely put some water weight on and things like that. I would say during this time, I was tracking my calories to some degree, and I think I wound up going over my calories by about 2,000 calories per day over maintenance for each day. So that's 2, 4, 6, about 6,000, 8,000 calorie-ish amount that we went over within that 4-day period over maintenance. So what we see here is we have a spike up to 214 pounds. Well, we also had another issue besides just going on our vacation. We also got sick with the flu and strep throat all at the same fucking time. So while we dealt with the flu and strep throat, we counted calories. Okay, but we did not watch what we ate. We ate whatever the hell we wanted. And while we tried to stay within maintenance-ish, if we went over, I didn't give a shit because I was sick and I was fueling my body to get healthy and well. So I reset everything after the vacation, and I was perfect up until I got sick. And then after getting sick, I overate by 1,208 calories. And that's what I'm at over budget right now. I think I was like 1,600, 1,700 calories over budget. But then like calorie banking, in other words, eating less calories, a few days where I was 100 calories under my budget, or 10 calories under my budget, or 20 or 50 or whatever under my budget. I wound up knocking that back down some. So right now, when I take a look, I'm over budget for the entire month by 1,208 calories. So that brings us up to taking a look at where we're at currently. And so today we weighed in at 209.1 pounds today, which is a good weight. So going from 214.5 to 209.1. Now I also want to talk about what was my calorie deficit, right? At the beginning of this in week 1, my calorie deficit was 2,600 calories. And when we saw that big dip, we went to maintenance for 2 weeks, being sick, vacation. Then I dropped my calories back when I got up to 214 to 1,800 calories. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been at 1,800 calories. So when we look here and we see this drop from 214 to 209, That's in a 1,800 calorie deficit. So, while I figured this out earlier, while I overate, while I was sick and so on and so forth, and I averaged it all out, we stayed under our calorie deficit by about 1,000, we stayed around 2,000 calories. So that our deficit to lose 1 pound a week would be 2,600. So we're 600 calories under that. So we're probably at about 1.5 pound per week weight loss, is what we're looking at there. And if you look here, going from 214 to 209, well, that's a 5 pound loss. So that's about 2.5 pounds per week that we're losing, which is what we have our budget set at. So we're really right on track, losing the weight that we aimed to lose, right? And if you follow along, you'll know there was a couple times like I went over just a little bit budget wise, and then I did some extra cardio to make up for it. So that did help, and I don't recommend it, but it does work for me. I do it sometimes. So I wouldn't say it's something that you should get used to doing or you should do all the time, but for me, it works from time to time. So now we take a look at our monthly view here. We can see we went from 209, right, to 212. So 209, 208, 212 pounds. And that is averaging it out over the month. So the month of December, we were 209. The month of January, we were 208. And then the month of February, we're 212 pounds. So looking at it averaged across the month, we're gaining weight when we average it across the month. So it is what it is. And then we'll take a look at our weight on a weekly basis here, right? And if we look at it on a weekly basis, you can see we were at 11.3%. Then we went to 10.7% body fat. Then we went to 12.4% body fat. And I don't have the current one in here. Let's see where we are currently really quick. Let me just pop up my scale here so I can talk about that. And then, so currently we are at 11.9% body fat. So that's where we're at currently right now. So if we look at in December, we were 11.2% body fat. Oh, here we are. That just got that the photo got out of place there. So 11.9%. But if you look, in January we went to 12%, and then in February 11.7%. So right now we're sitting at 11.9% body fat, and in the month of February we're sitting at 11.7% body fat. So averaged across the month, we're 11.7% body fat. And, are we going to get down to that 10% mark, the goal we had? Well, we have been down to 10%, 10.5% body fat. But I was trying to get down to 10% even body fat, right? I don't know if we're going to make it, because I think I'm going to start bulking regardless, because I don't want to go past a year and a half in a cut. And I am coming up on the year and a half mark in a cut. So let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Should we keep cutting? Should we go ahead and bulk? Oh, we'll talk about that more towards the end of this. So let's take a look now at our lean mass, right? When we take a look at our lean mass, this is how much muscle that we have put on over the course of the last couple months, right? So we started out week 1 at 174.7 pounds of lean muscle mass. Then we got up to 177.1 lean muscle mass. Now that's when we went on vacation, we were sick, all that stuff. We were eating over our calorie uh, deficit into a maintenance phase, and you can see we're putting on muscle whenever we're eating the calories we need to eat to put on muscle. But as soon as we dropped our calories down, we see a big loss in muscle mass right here from week 3 to week 5, week 4 to week 5. This was when we were sick with COVID and the flu. So you see a big drop off for those 4 days that we wasn't able to work out, and then you see that we came back, we had a spike, and now we're at 174.1 pounds of lean body mass. So that's how much muscle mass we have on our body currently. And if we look at this over the course of a month, right, you can see it's not much, but there is a steady increase from month to month. So we were 173.8 pounds averaged out across December. You look at January, we were 174 pounds averaged out across January. So 173.8 to 174, that's what, 0.2% pounds of lean muscle we put on. And then we look at where we're at now in February at 174.1. So we've put on 0.1% lean muscle in the month of February, which is about right. That is, that's what we're looking to do, especially being in a cut when we're not looking to put on a whole bunch of muscle, because we're not intaking the calories that we need to fuel our body during the recovery stages to gain muscle. We're trying to cut, right? So just holding on to what we got is really optimal and what we want to do. If we can put anything on, great. Like, that is awesome, and we are moving in the right direction if we can put on any muscle mass. But do we expect to put on a lot of muscle mass? Not really. We really don't expect to put a ton of muscle mass on, because we're still in this cutting phase. And that's why I don't want to cut past a year and a half, because at the beginning of the cutting phase, whenever I weighed a lot, it was easy to put on muscle and lose weight at the same time, because my body had the energy stores it needed to utilize with my own stored fat, my own stored calories, to utilize and convert energy to muscle. Well, now I don't have that. So I need to convert the food intake I have from energy to muscle, and it's using everything it has to do that. And I'm giving it enough protein that I'm seeing a very, very small increase in muscle mass from month to month, but nothing major at all. I mean, we're talking very small amount, but that's better than nothing, and I'm happy to have it. So here we're going to take a look at the DEXA scan. Okay, that's what this is. So I'm just going to go ahead, and it's a little video. I'm going to go ahead and play this video for you guys. You can see right here we are 208.2 pounds, metabolic age 35. You can see where we started off. We've seen increases all across from where we started to where we are now, right? So, like lean muscle mass, you see that has actually decreased a little bit. But why has it decreased? Well, because we've been in a cut for a year and a half, so we can't expect our lean muscle mass to increase. And this isn't going back for that full year and a half. This is only going back for the past 4 months, right? So we're looking back 4 months compared to now. The one thing that I don't care to see here is that bone mineral content going down a little bit within that time period. That means that I need to get out of the damn cut and get into the bulk so that I can increase my bone density with weightlifting additional calories, right? But you can see fat-free mass has dropped just a little bit. Um, you can see that the subcutaneous mass has dropped off or has increased just a tad from where it was when we first started, and our visceral fat has dropped off, but nothing major. We're talking about 1 singular pound of subcutaneous mass that we've put on, and that's after going through, a couple of the issues that we went through. Those issues being having improper uh, maintenance calories intake due to being sick and so on and so forth, or being on vacation and not being able to lift, and those various things. Now, when we look at our weight here, you can see we were 208.3, now we're 208.2. So we have seen a decrease in weight, which is good. Body fat percentage, we've seen a bit of an increase. We were 11.4% when we first started, and we're at 12% now. We know this is averaged out over time, right? So averaged over time, we're at 12% body fat. Not too terribly bad, but definitely not the 10% that we're trying to get to. Body fat mass, you can see that went up just a little bit, and we already talked about lean mass, so that is what it is. Now, as far as the health score, this just says, how healthy we are. Very good health score, very low body fat percentage. We're looking really good as far as health score goes. And our weight right now, 208.2 when we average it out. That is the weight that this is the DEXA scan is giving us. But now let's take a look at the photos, right? If we look at these photos, what we're looking at right here is the top photo is 3 months ago, and the bottom photo is yesterday. So when we look at these two photos, both similar photos, both photos are flexing our abs, both photos were getting a front view of us, right? And so you can see there's more vascularity now. You can see that the V taper for the abs is coming in, and it looks like we have lost visceral fat around the midsection area. You can see the chest looks more defined and more filled out. And the arms look about the same. I don't see a big difference in arms. The angles aren't exactly the same, but there's not like a huge difference in arms. But when I take a look at this visually, and I look at this visual data, I even look at the sides of me, right? And I can see the X frame is really starting to come in. The Dorito shape is really starting to come in a lot better in that second photo, the newer photo, than it was in the older photo. I'm very much more just straight up and down instead of having that boom, boom look, right? And it is what it is, right? But when I look at the photos, I can definitely see a change between 3 months ago and now, right? So I did measure myself today, and when I did my measurements today, I had lost about an inch at my stomach, where my belly button is, around my waist. My neck is the same size as it has been. My arm is the same size. Both arms same size as they have been. Biceps and my legs have increased just a little bit by about a 1/4 inch on my quads, around my quads and hamstrings. So my calves are about a 1/4 inch bigger too. So calves, hamstrings, Quads have grown, right? Arms have stayed about the same, and my waist has shrunk. Also, my chest is about a little less than a quarter inch bigger than it was 3 months ago, too. So, while when we look at the visual data, we can see I'm just definitely more filled out. I'm definitely more cut. I'm definitely getting closer to where I want to be. So, the question is, are we going to bulk or are we going to cut? What decision are we going to make, right? And so, I'll take a look at let me look at my calendar here. It is the 19th today, which means next, Friday will be the 28th. That gives us another full week that we're definitely going to cut for. We know we're going to cut for this week. And that'll have us at 1,800 calories for the last 4 weeks. On the 13th of March, that will be a year and a half. And I'm trying to decide, do I want to end my cut on the 28th and start my bulk then? Just when I get into March, go ahead and start my bulk at that time. Or do I want to cut until about March 15th? And then on March 16th, start my bulk. So that I go a full year and a half on the cut and then start bulking after, right? I really think this could go either way, right? I think that either way would be fine. But it looks like I'm going to be bulking in at least halfway through March, so it'll be like March, April, May, June, July, August, and then we'll probably start cutting around September, October, November, December. Yeah, it would be nice to cut October, November, December. Bulk January, February, March, April, May, June. Cut July, August, September. Something like that, right? But I'm thinking we're probably going to start, I don't know. We're either going to start our cut or our bulk on March 1st or March 15th. Let me know what you think. Should we go to March 15th and try to get down to the 10% body fat mark? Can we get to that 10% body fat mark if we stay at 1,800 calories on the trajectory that we're going now? And we take a look, we'll go back and take a look at our weekly view here. Here we go. Yeah, look at this weekly view. We're down to 209.1 pounds now. Week 6, we were 214.5. Down to 209.6 now. Steadily dropping weight, right? We'll stay at this calorie deficit for the rest of this cut. This 1,800 seems to be a nice sweet spot calorie deficit where we're losing about 2 pounds a week. So if we continually lose 2 pounds a week, that would be next week 2 more pounds, right? The next week 4, and the next week would be 6. So we have the potential to lose about 6 more pounds between now and the 15th. If we cut just through the 28th, we're probably going to look at losing just about 2 more pounds. So maybe going from 209 to 207, right? Or we could lose 6 pounds, right? And if we lose 6 pounds, that would be 203. Now, my app had suggested, the Hume Scale app had suggested, we were going to hit the body fat mark that we were looking to hit Let me see. Da, 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 da. Let's see. Where's my goals? Oh, okay, here we go. So it says here that we would be, if we got down to what, 200, what did I say, 207? All right, so this says here, okay, it's got to be at least. All right, so if we cut down to 203 pounds, this says here that we would be at 11% body fat at 3 pounds, which is where we're at now. So this is saying that we couldn't get down to, if we got down to 200, we'd be at 10% body fat. So it's saying we could get down to 200, 10% body fat, and how long would this take us? Let's see. Let's look at the milestones here. It's saying here this would take us. Huh. It's not saying how. I could have swore it told us the amount of time, but I'm not seeing the amount of time that it's saying it would take to get down to that. So. Anyway, so, but it's saying that we need to get down to 200 pounds, that would be 10% body fat. And if we look at losing 2 pounds per week, that would take us to that should take us about another 4 weeks to get down to it. That would put us getting down to 10% body fat around the 22nd or 23rd of March. And if we're going to do that, we might as well cut all the way through March. So, that's another option that we have. Do we just cut until we get to that 10% mark around March 31st? Just start our bulking on April 1st. So that's another consideration that we have. I don't know. Tell me what you think down in the comments. Let me know, and I'll ponder this. I'll try to make a decision, and next Thursday maybe we can. That'll be the 28th, and I'll let y'all know. Are we coming out of the bulk? Are we staying in the bulk? Or are we coming out of the cut? Are we staying in the cut? What are we gonna do? We gonna go one more month? Go for the 10% body fat mark? Or are we just gonna be happy where we are and start our bulk March 1st? I'll update y'all on that, and I will take your advice into consideration. So you've seen all the data, you've seen everything. I've talked it through. I do not know what I want to do yet. I almost want to hit 10% body fat just because I had the goal of getting to 10% body fat. Um, and I just want to hit the goal, right? And even though I got down to 10.5, I just felt like that's 0.5 pounds away from 10% body fat. So, do I want to hit that goal of 10% body fat? Do I want to keep pushing until I get there? Or do I want to go ahead and end the bulk right before I hit a year and a half at the end of this month? Do I want to go to the year and a half mark and end the bulk no matter what, around the 13th or 15th of March? Or do I want to go on past the year and a half mark by 2 weeks and just start the bulk on April 1st, giving myself plenty of time really to hit that 10% body fat goal that we set out for when we set out on this journey? Hitting that 10% body fat goal right now is not as important to me as recomping my body, honestly, and getting to the point where I am bigger and stronger and just growing. Because I know I'm going to bulk, I know I'm going to beef up, I know I'm going to grow, and I'm going to cut back down. And I know I'm going to look better when I do it. And I don't think there's any magic to hitting 10%. It's just a goal that I had in mind. I just kind of like to hit my goals that I set out to hit. That's really the only reason I want to hit it. So anyway, let me know what you think, and I'm going to continue contemplating on it. And we'll make a decision by next week. We'll talk again next Thursday, and y'all have a wonderful day. And remember, dominate every single thing you do, inside and outside of the gym.